A very good morning to all the students of class 12th political science. And students, as you know, we were doing the second chapter of your book, and the name of the chapter is The End of Bipolarity. So we had completed all the content from your NCERT book, and now we were focusing on all the additional topics to this particular chapter, and almost we have finished all the topics. So this is going to be the last part of this second chapter, and today we will cover the last additional topic which we will do in this particular video. And the title for this additional topic is democratic and democratization. Okay, under this title, which we will understand through the democracy and the meaning of democracy, what do we understand by democratic and democratization? Under this title, we'll try and understand two topics, that is Commonwealth of Independent States. It means CIS. We have seen and read about CIS in the chapter, but here we will see it in detail. And then we'll talk about Arab Spring. Okay, so these two topics we have to cover in this video. These are the two topics under this title, democratic and democratization. Under this we have to study Commonwealth of Independent States, CIS, and our Arab Spring. I will try to cover both the topics in this same video. Okay, so before I study and tell you something about Commonwealth of Independent States and Arab Spring, let's understand the meaning of the title, why they have included this topic, democratic and democratization, in this chapter of End and of bipolarity. Okay, so to understand this topic, it becomes very important that we should know the meaning of democracy, and I'm sure everyone knows about it very well. So basically, let's talk the definition which was given by Abraham Lincoln. He was the 16th president of USA. Okay, so he gave a very simple definition, although there are many definitions and you can explain in various ways, but there was a simple definition that democracy is defined as the government of the people, for the people, and by the people, where people have authority to choose their own representatives. You know that every citizen who is living in a democratic country, they have the right to vote, where they choose their own representative of their own choice. There is no pressure on them, and everyone's vote value is equal. So if you have the understanding of democracy, so from that word we have a word here, democratic. Democratic here means when a nation or any country has already adopted and implemented the ideology of democracy as a way to organize their political and social life. Okay, they have already implemented this democracy to organize their political or social life. It means they are a democratic country or a democratic state. But democratization is a situation when a country or a state are in the phase of making a transition from the old autocratic dictatorship or old political regime to adopt democracy. It means when they are in the phase of this transition from an old political regime to this new system of democracy, that means we call it democratization. So why we are studying here? It means after the disintegration of USSR in 1991, after this phase, we'll say after USSR disintegrated, the ideology of capitalism, which was followed by USA, was the most popular ideology, which was also following the liberal democracy. So liberal democracy was became the best way to organize the political and social life, which was followed by the various parts of the world around, which that was the ideology of US. So we'll see how after 1991 various parts around the world, we'll say, tried and followed and tried to bring democracy into their political system instead of any dictator or monarchy system. Okay, so let's try and understand what do we mean by Commonwealth of Independent States. As you know, these were the states, these were the countries, member countries, which were independent now after USSR was disintegrated. It means Russia plus 14 countries. It means 15 countries which were the part of USSR. Now they were independent. Okay, and they emerged as the new countries at the world platform, and they formed a group, they formed an association that was known as Commonwealth of Independent States, and they followed democracy. That is why we are studying this CIS under democratic and democratization. Let's see and see the details. This Arab Spring I will do after this topic, and let's see some details of this Commonwealth of Independent States. It is a free association of independent states. The word has been written free and independent because no more they were a part of USSR. They were independent and free. They were sovereign states from after disintegration of USSR after 1991 in December. So after the disintegration, they were free and independent now. Then formed by, let's see who were the founders. It was formed by Russia and 11 other republics in 1991, 12 members. It means this CIS was having 12 members. But we saw USSR had 15 members. It means which were the countries which did not join this CIS, we'll see here. The Commonwealth of Independent States (CIS) is a regional organization established on 8th December 1991 by Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. These were the three countries which took the initiative, and they were the founding members: Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. Okay, on 8th December. But the rest of the members of CIS, they joined this group on 21st December. So they joined on 8th December, and these rest of the countries joined on 21 December 1991. This is the same year when USSR disintegrated. Okay. Now, which were the three countries? There can be a direct question. Mostly there will be a question that tell the three countries which were a part of USSR but were not the part of CIS after the disintegration of USSR. So you will have to say remaining three republics refused to join CIS. Three republics refused to join CIS. Those were Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. Okay, so these three states did not join CIS, and they were called Baltic states. Okay, because these three states, they joined European Union and NATO in 2004. That is why they were called Baltic states, and they joined European Union and NATO in 2004, but they did not become the member of CIS. Okay, they did not join CIS. So here, with the help of the map, I will show you the members of CIS, those 12 countries which were previously the part of USSR. Here it is Russia, but later, after disintegration of USSR in 1991, they formed a part that is the Commonwealth of Independent States. So let's see the members. Kazakhstan, okay, can you see? Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, Georgia here, Belarus you can see here, okay, and Ukraine you can see here. And so these were some of the important member countries of CIS. And also you can see the countries, three countries which I told you which did not join the CIS group, and those countries are called the Baltic states. These are the Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. So these countries, okay, these were called the Baltic states because they are very close to the Baltic Sea here. Okay, so they were, because of their location, they were called the Baltic states, although they were the part of Europe, very close to Europe, and in the border region of Russia. So these were the members of CIS, and these three did not join CIS. Okay, so some of them I have shown you on the map: Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Russia, Moldova, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine. So these were the CIS members when in 1991 USSR disintegrated, and they formed this independent association that is called Commonwealth of Independent States. And the countries which did not join, I've shown the location of those countries also: Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. They were called the Baltic states because they joined European Union and NATO in 2004. Now I've written a note here: Almaty Declaration. So this was a, we can say, charter or agreement which was signed by all the members of CIS members. It means it was signed by all the 12 members. And what was the in that agreement? In that agreement, it was decided that they will cooperate in all the external and internal affairs and policies of each other. It means they are going to cooperate with each others internally and externally, both the ways. They will support each other, but they will be independent. Now let's see the objectives. If there is a question that what were the objectives of CIS, so you can write these objectives, that what were the aim, what was the purpose that they formed this association. The foremost and the most important objective and aim was sovereignty. Sovereignty, when we are free from the outside power, it means we have our own independent government and we can rule and govern our country according to our ways, okay, following our own ideologies. So here the main objective of CIS as an organization was that each member of CIS should have a sovereignty, equality of all members. It means no member here will act as a dictator or will try to dominate. And under USSR we saw how Russia was to dominate the other states, but under CIS association each and every member will be treated equally. It means equality of all members, independent and equal status under international law. It means each member will be treated as independent and equal status will be given to each and every state by following the international laws. Then development, they'll focus on development as they have to grow. They were making a transaction from an old regime, that was the USSR was following the socialism and communism. Now they were making a shift, a transaction to a new ideology, that was capitalism. So they moved forward towards development, friendship, mutual cooperation between states. So they knew, if we have to grow, if we have to move forward, we need to cooperate with each other, as these are the aims of each and every organization mostly. So it will be easy for you to learn. They wanted development along with the friendship. They wanted mutual cooperation between all the member states. Also strengthen international peace and security. They wanted to promote international peace and security, that there should be no situation of war, conflict or tension as it was in the period of Cold War. Because when there is a situation of war or Cold War, the development is pushed away behind. So they wanted a world that would look upon the new technologies and development. So they promoted international peace and security. CIS aims to promote, these are the same and things I will repeat here. The CIS aims to promote the coordination of its members in the realm of trade. They wanted to cooperate with each other in terms of trade, finance, lawmaking, security, to support cooperation on democratization, bringing democracy, okay, liberal democracy, and cross-border crime, stopping the crime, cross-border crimes. It participated in UN peacekeeping forces, where the various states provide their forces, their armies or militaries or technologies to bring peace around the world with the help of United Nations. This is called UN peacekeeping forces. Okay, so now talking of the functions here, there it will be same when we talk about objectives and functions. Here again, coordinates its members policies regarding economic, foreign relations, trade, defense, immigration, environmental protection policies. So these were some of the functions where they need to cooperate to move ahead, to grow, to be an alternative center of power. Okay, cooperation in economic, military, political affairs, trade, finance, cross-border crime protection. It's one and the same thing which is being repeated. I have written some terms so that you remember them. When we are writing the objectives or we are writing the functions, you will have to mention all these relevant terms. But for before that, you need to remember all these important data relating to Commonwealth of Independent States. And you know, these states were closely related to USSR, as they were the member of USSR. After the disintegration, they formed their association whose name was Commonwealth of Independent States, except these three states. Okay, with this we come to the end of this particular topic, Commonwealth of Independent States, and I hope you have understood that why this is a part of democratic and democratization, because here we were making a transaction from a old regime, that was socialism and communism, to a capitalist world which followed the liberal democracy. So they wanted to bring democracy here, where people could have the opportunities to participate in the government opinions, and they could elect their own representatives, and they could have their own ways of life, freedom, right to speech and expression, all that. Okay, so this is the other additional topic, that is Arab Spring, and it is also a part of the title that I told you just now, democratic and democratization, as we have studied about CIS, and now we will study about Arab Spring. And after the end, as soon as I will end this topic, that is Arab Spring, you will come to know why we are studying this Arab Spring under the heading that is democratic and democratization. I have given you the separate meaning of democratic and democratization. It is closely linked to democracy. So let's understand, what do we understand by Arab Spring. The 21st century witnessed emergence of new developments for democracy. As I told you, after the disintegration of USSR, there were new developments where the CIS member wanted to bring democracy to their country. They wanted to follow the ideology of capitalism, following liberal democracy. In the same way, in the 21st century, in the Middle East countries, there were many new developments where the countries wanted to bring democracy and democratization in West Asia. And I hope you know the location of West Asia now. I've shown you in the map many times. So this is all relevant with the West Asian countries. We also call them as Middle East countries. So there in the 21st century, they witnessed that there were developments for bringing democracy and democratization in West Asian countries. One such event is characterized as Arab Spring. So one of the event where the countries, Arab countries, West Arab countries, wanted to bring democracy to their countries. One of the incident is called Arab Spring, that began in 2009. You have to remember, when we talk about Arab Spring, it is relevant with bringing democracies and democratization to the West Asian countries. And this Arab Spring began in 2009. Okay, but previously it located in Tunisia. The Arab Spring took its roots where the struggle against corruption, unemployment, and poverty. I have written two times, unemployed and unemployment. Okay, so I will. Okay, first of all, I thought just to show you the map so that you can relate the topic. This is a map of Africa. This is India. This is European part. Okay, and this is West Asia. We call this as Middle East also. We call it as Middle East. So when we are talking about Arab Spring, okay, so we'll try and understand it had the influence and significance relating to this area. And this is Tunisia. It started, Arab Spring started from here, and this spread to this part of the world, which is called Middle East countries. These are the Muslim dominated countries. Okay, so there was no democracy. There used to be a dictator or autocratic rulers. So there was absence of democracy. So people started a demonstrations and protest where they wanted to bring democracy to this western part of the Asia. Okay, and it started from here, Tunisia, which is a country, which is a place in Africa and very close to West Asia, we can say. Okay, so we can say it was located in Tunisia first, this Arab Spring, but it took its roots, it spread to the other parts of West Asia. And this struggle, or this Arab Spring, was a struggle against corruption. When we will see what do we understand by Arab Spring, it was a struggle against corruption, unemployed or unemployment, poverty, and was started by the public, which turned into a public movement. It was started by the people which were facing problems like corruption, unemployment, poverty, and it became a political movement soon. And because the people considered the existing problems, because people thought that these problems of corruption, unemployment, poverty, okay, and discrimination, these all the problems were coming up just because these were the outcome of autocratic dictatorship. Because these western countries, here the political system was autocratic and dictatorship, where the power was centralized in the single hand. So because of those outcomes of this system, there were problems like poverty, corruption, unemployment, etc. So the demand, here the people started demanding democracy. That started in Tunisia, first started in Tunisia, and later it is spread throughout the Muslim dominated Arab countries. And we know these countries, Muslim dominated Arab countries, are the countries of West Asia. Okay, so you have to just remember a single thing, that Arab Spring, it was a struggle against corruption, unemployment, and poverty, which started because of the people started protesting, because the existing autocratic and dictatorship political system was not allowing people to have a good life. So this system started, or this protest started in Tunisia, and it spread to the Arab countries. Now they have given a particular name here. You can see in 1 mark it can come. Hosni Mubarak, who had been in power in Egypt. Okay, if you will see, you will find, this is a task for you, you have to find Egypt. Okay, Tonsi Mubarak, who has been in power in Egypt since 1979, and you know this date. Okay, recently we have to do something about this date. Okay, so since 1979, also collapsed as a result of the massive democratic protest. So he was ruling this part of Egypt since 1979, but finally his political system also collapsed because of the mass democratic protest. People were protesting here. In addition, the influence of Arab Spring could also be seen in the Yemen, Berlin, Libya, Syria. So these were the neighboring countries. So we could see the impact of this Arab Spring in these countries also, where where similar protests by the people led to the democratic awakening throughout the region. Okay, so now people got more aware and they wanted to be ruled and they wanted to follow the ideology of democracy or a liberal democracy as it was followed by the US allies and US, that was capitalism. So basically people wanted to bring democracy here because they were living under a political system which was autocratic dictatorship monarchy system where the powers were centralized, and due to this type of authorities they were facing problems like corruption, unemployment, poverty, etc. But now they wanted to end these sufferings, and for that they knew they had to take a step. They had to do protest demonstration to bring democracy to their countries. And this is all the stories about the West Asia or the Middle East, which started with Tunisia, which is a place in Africa very close to the borders with West Asia. Okay. Here you can see this question: write a note on the formation of Commonwealth of Independent States. Although they have given some details here, but I have given you more details today, so you will have to watch the video which I have given relating to Commonwealth of Independent States, and you can add more content to this when if the questions comes relating to formation of Commonwealth, because here they have just written it: disintegration of the USSR gave birth to the Commonwealth of Independent States. So they have just here tried to explain that after the disintegration of USSR, there was the formation of Commonwealth of Independent States. But which were the countries, member countries, which were the part of Commonwealth, which were the countries which did not join Commonwealth countries? Okay, so you can add all those points. Okay, so under the leadership of Boris Yeltsin, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, as you know, these three countries took the initiative. They were the founding members, and I've given you the date also when they joined. In the same year later, other members also joined this group. Okay, they declared themselves independent and gave a surprise. So here you can mention the objectives and functions also of the CIS. I've shown you, given you so many objectives. And also they have mentioned gave a surprise to other republics, especially to Central Asian republics. This issue was resolved quickly by making these republics as founding members of CIS. First of all, these Central Asian countries or the West countries, Central Asian countries were surprised as they wanted to be a part of USSR because they got the political, social, or economic support, military support from USSR. But once USSR disintegrated, they were really shocked and they were surprised. But then this Commonwealth of Independent States, they made them the member of CIS, and Russia became the successor state who inherited the Soviet seat in the UN and accepted all the international treaties and commitments. Okay, so with this is a question which I have discussed. You can write a much better question including all the points which I have explained in the notes today. Okay, so with this I am coming to the end of this chapter, and from the next video we are going to start the third chapter of our syllabus. Till then, thank you so much. Take care.